The Golden Human Codex III, Coherent Creation. Welcome, Golden Human, to Episode 6, Expression Without Self-Exposure. Authentic expression through regulated coherence. Many models of creativity assume expression must come from emotional intensity, vulnerability, or catharsis. Yet when the nervous system stabilizes into coherence, expression becomes organized rather than reactive. In regulated states, perception moves through the system with clarity. Communication becomes structured, grounded, and sustainable. Expression no longer serves as emotional release. It becomes articulation. The Golden Human expresses from internal steadiness. Creativity becomes sublime, serene, and quietly numinous, emerging from coherence rather than exposure. Expression becomes exalted when it no longer relies on emotional exposure or nervous system strain. When the body is regulated, expression emerges not as release, but as articulation. The system is not attempting to process unresolved intensity, it is translating perception into form. This produces communication that feels Elysian, balanced, and precise. Words, art, and leadership arise from internal steadiness rather than urgency. Expression becomes delicious when it is not forced.
The rhythm of the body never lies. Every feeling is a message from inside.
Core teachings. Authentic expression does not require emotional exposure. Many creative traditions equate vulnerability with intensity, assuming that the more someone reveals their wounds, the more authentic their expression becomes. Yet authenticity does not depend on exposure. It depends on coherence. When the nervous system is stable, communication becomes naturally honest without requiring emotional unraveling. The Golden Human understands that truth can be spoken calmly. Expression can be serene, precise, and still deeply impactful. Regulated nervous systems produce organized communication. When the atomic nervous system stabilizes, cognitive processing becomes more integrated. The brain is able to synthesize information without fragmentation or urgency. This allows expression to emerge with structure rather than emotional spillover. As a result, communication becomes clear and sublime. Ideas arrive with coherence, and articulation becomes both efficient and exalted in tone. Creativity does not require suffering. Cultural mythology often frames creativity as something born from struggle or emotional turmoil. While intensity can produce output, it is rarely sustainable. Coherent nervous systems generate creativity from integration rather than distress. When the system is balanced, expression becomes blissful rather than exhausting. The process of creating feels delicious, and the body remains energized rather than depleted. Contained expression is often more powerful than emotional overflow. When expression is regulated, it carries a quiet authority. The listener or observer senses coherence in the speaker or creator. This coherence allows communication to influence environments without force. The Golden Human communicates with calm precision. Their presence alone stabilizes inner reactions, and their expression carries a numinous quality that reorganizes attention naturally. Expression becomes sustainable when it is not tied to identity performance. Many people feel pressure to express themselves in order to maintain a particular identity or persona. This creates subtle nervous system tension because expression becomes a performance rather than a translation of perception. When identity relaxes, expression becomes more seraphic in tone, clear, grounded, and free from strain. Communication becomes an offering rather than a demonstration. Coherent expression replenishes the system. When creativity emerges from regulation, the nervous system does not interpret the activity as stress. Instead, the process reinforces neural pathways associated with calm, focus, and integration. This allows creative output to feel Elysian and sustaining. Expression becomes part of the body's rhythm of coherence rather than a demand placed upon it.
Storm or sunshine is all the same road. Energy moving through a UN code.
Golden Human Frame. The Golden Human expresses from integration rather than fragmentation. Expression is not a cathartic discharge of emotion, nor a performance designed to prove authenticity. Instead, it is the structured translation of perception through a coherent nervous system. The Golden Human communicates what is true, clear, and necessary. No more, no less. Words, art, and leadership become serene, precise, and quietly influential. Expression becomes a natural extension of internal opulence and felicity, rather than an attempt to resolve tension.
People say emotions make you weak, but the heart speaks truth when the mind can't speak.
Ritual. Create a contained moment of expression today. Begin by burning white sage. Allow the gentle smoke to move through your space as a signal of transition from noise into clarity. Let the scent settle the environment in your nervous system. Take several slow breaths and notice the body soften, the jaw, the shoulders, and the abdomen. Then create something small and complete. Write a paragraph, sketch a simple image, speak a brief idea aloud, record a thought. Do not search for emotion. Do not attempt to perform. Allow expression to arise from calm coherence. Notice how creativity feels when it emerges from serene regulation rather than pressure.
Listen to the pulse when the fear comes near. It is guidance, not a chain of fear.
Today's affirmation. My expression arises from coherent presence. My words and creations carry sublime clarity and numinous steadiness. I create from serene alignment, where blissful coherence moves through me effortlessly. My voice, art, and ideas flow as a natural exhale of golden awareness. Before speaking or creating, lengthen the exhale and allow the shoulders to soften. When the breath becomes slow and steady, begin. Expression becomes most exalted when the body remains regulated. When expression no longer depends on emotional exposure, the nervous system discovers a profound sense of safety and communication. Words no longer feel like a risk, and creativity no longer feels like a demand. Instead, expression becomes a calm extension of internal coherence. The body remains stable while ideas move into the world. Communication becomes clearer, more precise, and more sustainable. This is where expression becomes quietly numinous. The Golden Human does not require intensity to be heard. Presence, clarity, and steadiness naturally organize attention. In this state, expression feels delicious, serene, and deeply aligned with the body's natural rhythm of coherence. If this episode brought felicity, bliss, or new clarity to your relationship with expression, like, comment, save, and share, so others exploring the Golden Human Path may experience this Elysian steadiness. And in Episode 7, Legacy Without Attachment, we explore how influence becomes more exalted when the nervous system releases control over outcomes and allows contribution to ripple naturally through time. Expression does not require exposure to be powerful. Walk as the Golden Human whose words, art, and presence arise from coherent stillness, quietly sublime, serene, and true.